What's going on YouTube? It's Trev. All right, let's talk about it. There has been an awful lot of talk lately about burns. You're either on the side of burns, or you're not on the side of burns, or you want somewhere in the middle, right? So we've got a governance proposal out right now. This is from Vegas about changing the burn tax again. Now, you know the original burn tax, the 1.2%, was, brought about by Vegas. Vegas is the one that kind of originated it. And we all were gung-ho about it and pushed it and whatever. And then some people said, well, it's kind of killing the volume. And so they convinced enough people to vote to change it and change it drastically to 0.2%. And it's been that for a while. It's been that a lot longer than it was actually 1.2%. I don't think that ever sat very well with Vegas and with, a section of the community who believes burns are kind of the way to go. We're seeing that there are a bunch of different perspectives on which way we want which way we want the token to actually proceed, which way we think is best for it to get to where we want it to get, right? Or different ideas actually where we even want it to get. So, there's a million different kind of factions, if you will, or ideas, but I guess the main ones are let's burn, get the total supply down significantly, and that will bring the price up and everybody will be happy. And once we reduce the supply and we get the price up and we show that it's strong, then DApps will come in and want to build and blah, 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 right? The flip side of that is, well, the other way around. It's like, well, let's not really worry so much about the burn right now. Yeah, we need to reduce the supply, but we can reduce the supply by increasing the volume on transactional, the tax, on transactions by bringing in more DApps and having more utility. The more we do that, the more transactions, the more we burn, right? So a few different ways to look at it. I don't think we're ever going to convince one side of the other thing, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. But let's look at this proposal. So this is 11397. Burn tax to 0.8%. Again, why exactly 0.8%? I'm not sure. There really, as we've learned, there was no real reason for 1.2%. It was just kind of a number that needed to be filled in, and that's what they decided to fill it in with, right? But there was nothing strategic about that number. There was nothing that was figured out in, the math and said, well, this is the optimal number for, but it was never that, right? I don't know that 0.8% is that either. It's throwing a dart at the wall. If you put all the numbers up there, you throw a dart and it hits 0.8 and that's what you go with kind of thing, right? If we wanted to say, well, 1.2 didn't work for these reasons and 0.2 doesn't work for these reasons and go right in the middle somewhere, then we're somewhere around 0.6, 0.7. So I don't know why exactly 0.8, right? And I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know why that number. All right. To propose, the purpose of this proposal is increase the current tax burn rate from 0.2% to 0.8%. This adjustment has been proposed in response to community feedback indicating dissatisfaction with the current tax system's performance in meeting promised outcomes. We'll get back to that. As the current tax has been in place for a significant period, it is time to explore new options. Okay. The community has expressed its views on various platforms, and it appears that the majority agrees with this proposed increase. In terms of DApps, there are a few solutions that have been explained in detail in the forum, which takes you back to Agora, right? And it has been discussed. By raising the tax rate, we aim to address community concerns and increase the efficacy of the tax system. This proposal is a proactive approach to ensure that the system is responsive to the community's needs and preferences. Rest assured, they believe that the tax would be better even higher than this, right? I think that this was an attempt to, let's raise it a little bit, and because they believe that that's going to work and going to get the effect that they expect, if all of a sudden we're burning a lot more, right, then it's easy to say, well, look, see, we increased it to 0.8. Hey, let's go back to 1.2, right? Or, and from there, God knows where, right? That's the idea, I'm sure. But there's a couple things in here that kind of stand out to me, right? And I said I would get back to it. So, as the current tax, let me make sure I find it. This adjustment has been proposed in response to community feedback indicating dissatisfaction with the current tax system's performance in meeting promised outcomes. Now, not long ago in another video, I talked about how if all the people you talk to all day long and who you surround yourself with and the conversations that you have are all people who agree with you, then you're going to maybe start to believe not only that you're absolutely right, but that everybody feels that way, okay? You're in a bubble, right? You're in a bubble of confirmation bias, right? And when you have a Telegram room, or you have a Discord or whatever that you run, the people that are in there that are actually participating and talking all the time are generally going to be the people who agree with the way you think, right? It's the echo chamber that we talk about. There might be, some people in there every once in a while who kind of disagree with this or question that or whatever, and they're so overwhelmed by the people who think your way, right? That, either they're snuffed out or they're made to feel foolish, or sometimes they're even blocked, right, if they really want to try to push an idea that's against what the majority is. So I wonder if this part of the community that you're talking about that, is so significant and wants this change and whatever else, is that because the people that you're talking to every day are the people that are in your Telegram? The people who we already know agree with you, the people who have joined your faction and are on your side, right? I gotta think so. The reason I think so is because if you look down just a little bit at the actual votes, now this has been out for, I guess, a day, it ends in 6 days. You have 26.85% yes, right? 2.25% have abstained, but you've got 65, a little while ago, this was 66%. 2/3 of the people who have voted have said no. And some have said no with veto, which I don't really agree with. I really think that should be saved for scam proposals. And just because you really, really don't like a proposal doesn't mean that you should call it a scam or that you should vote no with veto. Those are the ones that are talking about airdrops and stupid things like that we know are just a bunch of bullshit, indefinite scams, right? But anyway, I think this clearly shows, and I understand it's only been a day, maybe not even a full day, but I still think this clearly shows that maybe Vegas, who I believe wrote this, right, is maybe a little out of touch with the entirety of the community. And maybe just listening to, again, that section of the community who follows him and agrees with what he says anyway, right? I don't know. If you're going to do something like this, and particularly if you're going to claim, oh, this is what the community wants, or the community proposes this, maybe you should listen to all of the community, right? Very often what happens is, and I talk about this a lot. I talk about this an awful lot. As a matter of fact, there's a video that I'm going to link in the description here that I had made on a whole other YouTube channel, a channel that I did just about relationships, interpersonal relationships, and kind of dealing with each other, right? And it was on understanding someone's perspective, right? And I think a big problem here is that we get into this thing where somebody has an idea about how to move the chain forward. Somebody has an opposite idea. And what they do is they blast each other with their idea in the effort of trying to convince the other person their way, right? That's the only objective. I'm going to keep hammering you with all of these reasons and all of these what I consider to be facts and whatever, until you see things my way. And then the other person is doing the same thing, and we have this, right? And we have all of the drama that we often have and a lot of those things, right? The way to actually do it is to say, this is how I feel, and you say, this is how I feel, and then you listen to each other. You don't have to necessarily agree, okay? That's not necessarily the goal, right? Because if you can at least understand the perspective of the person across from you or the group across from you, right? If you can understand each other's perspectives, why, even though you don't agree with it, why they feel that way, okay? It'll cut out all the drama. And it'll encourage agreeing to disagree, or optimally, it will encourage trying to find middle ground. Okay, this is the way I feel, and I feel strongly about it. This is why I feel this way. But I also understand why you feel that way. I don't agree with it, but I understand why you feel that way. So how can we, and you got to validate that, right? Everyone's opinion and their perspectives, they're valid, right? Even if they're not the same as yours. And that's how you meet in the middle. Okay, where can we meet in the middle and compromise? And understand that compromise means that I got to maybe give some stuff up and you might have to give some stuff up, right? To meet in the middle and see what we can do to move forward. Okay? You want to be decentralized? You want to be 100% decentralized? You want the community to run this chain? If you don't do that, you're doomed. Absolutely doomed, because we will continue to run in circles and bash heads, right? But this clearly, very clearly to me, shows that, not that Vegas doesn't have his ideas and his perspective and his reason for his ideas, but that he's not listening to, according to this, maybe even 2/3 of the community. They don't agree, and you got to understand why they don't agree. Okay, but it is what it is. Now, if you went to Agora and you actually clicked on the proposal, right? And let me get up to the top here. Oh, it's way back. All right, let me just do it this way. This is probably easier. Boop, there we go. You can see that Vegas wrote this. It's 26 days old, maybe. But, when you scroll down, and it's very short, okay? You can read through it. There are a couple links and things that you want, if you want to check out, right? It's had an awful lot of activity. But read through the comments. And if you read through the comments here, I was just skimming through them. I didn't do any, professional polling on it or tally or whatever. I didn't count everything up. But it looked to me pretty darn even, pretty close to 50-50 as far as those who agree with it and those who say absolutely not, right? So I'm not sure, again, where this thing comes from, where, a significant amount of the community wants this, and so this is why I'm bringing it to you. I think that, like I said, I think that it's from the echo chamber, right? You got to listen to everybody, what everybody's talking about, what everybody wants. So right now, this is not passing. And it has 6 days to go, but if right out the gate, if this is any indicator of how it's going to go, it's not going to pass. Maybe some huge validators come in and vote for it, vote with it, but I don't necessarily see that happening either. We talked about yesterday how Terra Vita getting ready to release Terraport, and their reason for not wanting to do this, and there is a comment on the Agora about it, their reason is that this is going to screw everything up. I mean, they have the potential, they think, to burn an awful lot of LUNC with their process, but raising the tax could actually screw that up, right? So that's one valid reason against, right? There are valid reasons for, too. We've got to find a way to meet in the middle somewhere and come up with a conclusion. Without some sort of structured path, right? And I know that nobody ever wants to hear the thing leadership, but without a structured path and some sort of entity to say this is the path we're moving in, we're going to continue to do this, right? So if that's the way we're going to go, we're going to continue to do this. Let's do it a little more civilly. Let's open up our ears and hear what the other person is saying. You don't have to agree with it, but at least understand it. Understand why, right? And then meet in the middle. That's the only way we're going to get anywhere. We've got 3 proposals that are out right now being voted on, and none of them are really going anywhere. 1.2% tax till $5 trillion, then back to 0.2, right? You know, I'm sure people think that these are brilliant ideas that everyone's going to love, but this thing is ending in a day and never even met quorum. People are sick of hearing about this burn thing and what we're going to do, right? I can't say that. Some people are. Not everybody. But as far as the burn tax, we've tried this, we've tried that. It's like, how many different things are we going to try? It kind of makes us look unorganized, you know? So this one isn't going anywhere. What's the other one that we have? This is for the tax anti-handler. This one ends in 4 days and also isn't really getting up to quorum, and you know is a pretty hard no right now. I mean, a lot have abstained, but they're not really going anywhere. What I really found interesting is the ones that are on deposit right now for Terra Classic. You know, and I'm going to scroll down to get to the newest ones, right? But there are so many proposals here that are waiting for people to, you know, add some money for it to actually go through. A lot of them are text proposals. Majority of them are text proposals. But so many of them have something to do with a burn, right? Set the burn rate to 0.6. Burn 1 million movement. This one didn't have anything to do with burn. Burn the supply. Auto burn buttons. Remove the brick. Burn more LUNC and USTC. 1 million community burn. Delete the burn tax. Right. Stake to burn. Ability to burn, staking rewards when claiming. So many of these have to do with a burn. Right. So does the community think that we should reduce the supply? Absolutely. But when it comes to that actual burn tax, doesn't seem like a lot of people are willing to touch that. They're trying to find other ways maybe to do it. Okay. So, I don't know. I mean, we're a bit confused right now. I think some are here and some are there. And that's been the case for a while. And a lot of people are getting frustrated with that. What's the solution, right? I hate talking about the problem without offering a solution. I've actually offered a solution at one time or another when I was talking about actually having some sort of structure, some sort of, entity that would actually form one path, and that's what we would move down. Some people loved it, some people didn't. It's the same thing, right? So where do we go? How do we actually make this work? I don't know. In the meantime, we continue to upgrade and update the chain. The L1 Task Force is doing their thing. They're about to release a proposal for Q2 to keep the chain running and updated and ready to go. And, maybe in Q2 we'll find our feet, and get behind something, everybody, and move forward in one direction. But right now, it's just not happening, and it's kind of sucky, right? I still have faith. I still have faith because I happen to also be aware of a lot of things that are kind of brewing in the background. So I'm personally still bullish on LUNC, but I can't tell you what to do with your money. This isn't financial advice in any way, shape, or form. You've got to make your own decisions. I just want to bring you the information. And so far, as far as that burn tax thing, that's what's going on. Let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. Leave some comments. Are you for it? Are you against it? What are your reasons? I don't want to just hear absolute no or absolute yes. Give me a reason. Let's talk about it and understand each other's perspective. All right? Hit the like button for me if you could on the way out. If you want to subscribe, you can do that too. Hit the notification bell so you are alerted when I send out videos. All right. Talk to you later. Ciao.